And
Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
hey, David, how you doing tonight?
Good. I know some people stay up late to watch the podcast. I'm just going to warn them that I'm both coaching hockey and playing hockey this year. And there's going to be a lot of fairly late night podcasts. Like there's going to be a couple hours delay a lot of the time. So I was playing tonight, and um, yeah, I love the Oilers and I love this podcast, but I really love playing hockey and coaching it. So I'm not going to be giving that up. Even if so maybe just sometimes you will have to get it in the morning, catch it in the morning if you can't catch it at night. I'm sorry about that. But
Unfortunately, we tried hard last year to do the live podcast, which many people had requested, but the technology fail was so drastic that the quality, the sound quality just went right through the
it was a
floor, and
nightmare.
it was driving us absolutely nuts. Like
It
it
was,
was just below our standards of quality, despite the best efforts. So we
yeah,
have not solved the problem of being able to do it live with a decent underlying platform, and maybe at some point we will be able to solve that, but it has not happened yet.
it has not happened yet. Oh, I need to plug in my, hopefully this won't screw anything up. I was using just the regular. All right, can you still hear me, Bruce?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't have my mic plugged in. I was just using the mic off the computer. All right.
Nope. I should
Uh,
change mine too. Let's get it. Let's get it right.
we're on the fly, Bruce. We're making these
Hmm.
changes, improving things. It's okay. The Oilers won a big game. They're 2-0 now. They won a big game against the Calgary Flames. Anytime you beat the Calgary Flames, it was a 5-2 win. Easily could have gone the other direction because early in the game, Mike Smith, I thought, kept the Oilers in that game, and we're gonna get to that, of course. This is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. And because Bruce, it was an Oilers victory, we'll go with two good things each. Why don't you start it off with the obvious good thing?
Well, one obvious good thing
Yeah,
was
one of them.
Mike Smith. Mike Smith, whose name you mentioned already, who faced a veritable barrage of rubber all night long. 15 shots in the first period, 18 in the second, 14 in the third for horrendous from a team perspective, 47 shots against. And of those 47, just two found the back of the net. And Smith posted, I think it was 957 save percentage, very solid night's work. They We did count, I believe, just 9 grade A scoring chances for Calgary, but a couple of those are real doozies. And he came up big, especially early in the game, as you say. And once Edmonton got the lead and Calgary started playing catch up, they were shooting, but they were maybe um, shooting more from outside, not generating quite as many dangerous chances as they had in the early going. But Smith stood tall, and um, he got the job done for the second game in a row. Actually, the fourth game in a row, if you count the two preseason games where he was real good in both of those as well. So he's come out with another bee in his bonnet this year, looking to shut up the critics again. And I think he likes shutting up critics more than just about anything else, Mike Smith. So it's great. Keep the criticism coming, folks. And Schmitty will keep answering your comments with saves.
He must love beating the Calgary Flames, Bruce. I was just thinking, without Tippett in the league, without a
Mhm.
coach who had such fundamental faith in him, I wonder if Smith would have got another chance after
Right.
flaming out in Calgary. Like, I really do. Because he had, I think it was two pretty mediocre seasons in a row. No, is that correct? Did he have, was his
He
first
had
season
one
in
in
Edmonton?
Calgary and one in Edmonton,
Yeah,
which, if you just judge by save percentage, were mediocre in both places. If you judge by team results when he was in net, they were pretty good.
well, there you
But
go.
a lot of people don't seem to think that goalie wins are actually due to anything the goalie did.
Well, his puck moving cannot be denied, Bruce.
As an old goalie, I resent that. Goalies play to win, just like all other players. So.
Yeah, 45 saves tonight.
45
Nine
saves.
grade A shots is a fair number of grade A shots. He only let in the two goals. So Yeah, I thought and especially early in the game, he was fantastic. The Flames came out in this game. They were a markedly different team than last year. And we noticed it in the scrums, right? Like last year, they didn't stand up for each other. There was occasions where they didn't, and that's kind of a shocking thing when you see that with a team. We've seen that in the decade of darkness with the Oilers, where they would not stand up for each other. And the Flames sure did. I mean, they were just any little thing, and they were all over the Oilers, right? Like trying to rough them up, and there'd be three or four Flames on, poor Jesse Puljujärvi or some unsuspecting customer like that. So this was a very determined Flames team, and Mike Smith really did shut the door on them, and he must love doing that to the Calgary Flames. He must love that.
Couple of little flubs with the puck. There was one real adventure where he coughed it up behind the net, and the play that he decided to make rather than try and scramble back in the net was to put the paddle down on the ice and intercept the centering pass, which he actually successfully did. Knocked the pass down, and then he got help from a couple of teammates to work the puck out of the danger area. But that was a heart attack that Oilers fans probably didn't really need. But when it came to stopping the puck, he was fine. He was twice. I mean, both goals. I mean, one was a one-timer, a power play one-timer with no defenseman around, and the other was a deflection and a rebound by Andrew Mangiapane, again with no defense anywhere in sight, and Smith left to his own. And there was a few other times where he was kind of on his own. He made the save. So.
Okay, my good thing, Bruce, Connor McDavid, hat trick.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and
shocked, David.
There was a few warts on that line, Bruce.
Yeah.
They were out for some grade A chances against. I mean, I have found their defensive play to be underwhelming in the first two games, to say the least. And they're kind of a 5-man unit with Barry and Nurse, and they're not clicking on all cylinders on defense yet, but they still manage to score at even strength, don't they? And they on the power play, they're just awesome. And McDavid, of course, got that one-timer goal. Has he scored a one-timer goal before? Maybe.
Apparently never before. Like he was working on one-timers all through camp, and he was whiffing on them, and he was sort of getting dribblers away, and Draisaitl said that he was a fluffer of a shooter.
Fluffer.
And his very first game in the regular season, they set him up for a one-timer maybe 5 minutes into the first period. This was the game I was at on Wednesday night, and he broke his stick. Completely whiffed it and broke his stick. And so it took him an entire one game to learn the art of the one-timer, because tonight he got the chance to let one fly, and he just rocketed it home. The problem solved, apparently. We'll see how many more of those there are, but he was laughing pretty hard when he put that one home. And I would imagine that would bring great satisfaction to any player when they've been working on a particular skill. But a player like him that has so few holes in his game, and he works specifically at this one that's never been a strength, and then to get rewarded so quickly with this was a game-winning goal to boot, just to put a little bow on it.
I'm just going to look up last year, because we actually keep track of one-timers, don't we, Bruce? So we
we do.
See if I can find that out. He certainly celebrated. He certainly celebrated that goal. Like he was happy to be there and happy to have executed that shot in a game. So I bet you he took. I wonder how many one-timers he took this summer in order to launch that one tonight. I suspect, Bruce, that it was a substantial number. Okay, here we go. 97 FSOT. Well, we have him with 9 last year, but sometimes those aren't what we count as one-timers. Like his first shot, we counted as a one-timer. His first goal was also a one-timer, right? He didn't stop it; he just snapped it right in the net. So a lot of the one-timers last year, he did get 9. Would have been that kind of goal, just where it's pass comes bang off your stick in the net. So it doesn't have to be a big wind up for us to count it as a one-timer.
Right.
So I think that may qualify as his first kind of, big
Slap
wind
shot,
up,
one
slap
time.
shot, one-timer. The dramatic, the executioner's shot.
Hmm.
What's your second good thing, Bruce?
Yeah, I like to play a Cody Ceci in this game. And he kept catching my eye in a good way. I mean, most noticeably when he made a beautiful pass to Jessica Yarby for an absolutely gigantic goal. Just 26 seconds after Calgary cut the lead to 3-2 with still 15 minutes on the clock, and you think they're coming hard. And on the very next shift, we had a nice exit pass from Draisaitl to Cece
Beauty.
in the neutral zone, and another beauty cross ice pass from Cece to Puljujärvi breaking across the blue line, and Yessa took it in and just snapped a perfect shot right inside the far post, like 14 inches off the ice, the Sakic spot. Where he hit the net cord one knot inside the goalpost, where the goalie really has little chance. That made it 4-2, and that kind of didn't quite put an end to Calgary's battle level, but it certainly put a big pin in their balloon. They were starting to come back pretty good, and for Edmonton to answer that quickly with such a decisive goal as well, really had to be demoralizing for Calgary. You got to like it. And Puljujärvi, he's developing himself into a Calgary killer. But Cece, I mean, there was that play. On the flip side, there was a play for the Mangiapane goal where he got drawn over to the boards where the puck was, and they worked it back to the point, and he wound up being a long way from where he could help Duncan Keith defend against two guys in front of the net. So you could criticize him a little bit for that. But what I liked was a number of plays that I saw, Calgary rushes that he stopped by standing up at the blue line, by standing up at the red line, and by simply thwarting them right in before they even entered the Edmonton zone. And say there's maybe three different plays like that in the game that caught my eye, where it was basically him who, by being proactive, uh, sort of standing up at the lines, put a stop to what appeared to be fairly dangerous rushes. And he moves the puck okay, and he's got lots of breadth to his game. Not sure how much, like, he doesn't really stand out at too many individual skills, but he does a lot of things, Cody Ceci. So far, so okay.
He is solid on his skates, Bruce. Solid on his skates. That's what I like about him. He's he and Keith are hanging in there so far. They're playing, I think they're getting a pretty heavy diet of the tough competition, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I like what I see there. That Puljujärvi, I would just want to return to that goal. That's the kind of goal he scored in Finland, like, where he would in the Finnish league now and then he'd rip one like that. If he starts to regularly score like that, Bruce, in the NHL, the Oilers are going to owe him a lot of money on his next contract. But and
they can afford him at all.
There is a chance here that he will outpoint this year Patrick Laine, Matthew Tkachuk, and Pierre-Luc Dubois. All players taken in the same year in the draft. And I would say that it's who's going to get the most points of those guys at this point, the way Puljujärvi's playing and who his line mates are. It's got to be he's got to be, 25% for each guy, maybe, or maybe it's Laine and Puljujärvi with the best chance, or Tkachuk. I don't know about Dubois. He doesn't play on the power play as much right now anymore, I don't believe. So, yeah, he's starting to look like the fourth overall pick of the 2016 draft and really coming to his own in that regard. And Ceci, I was worried about him. I've been worried about him, but the so far first two games, I've been really happy with his play. I just think he and Keith have generally been solid. I mean, Bruce, we know bad defensemen. We have seen them. we've seen a decade of terrible defensemen with the Edmonton Oilers, guys who can't play. So, newcomers come to town, there's controversy, and you're just worried, oh, not again. Like not another
Mm-hmm.
Nikitin, not another Fane, not another Curtis Foster, not another
Another
Barker,
Ference.
not another Andrew Ference, who I like, so I don't usually throw him in there.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean,
but in terms of his play, it's a fair comment.
lots of these guys came when they were already on the downhill side of the slope, right?
Yeah.
Whereas CC comes in with 27 years old, and anyways,
Yeah.
so far, so I'm not going to say promising, but certainly competent.
Yeah.
And let's see. But I liked what I saw mostly of his game tonight, and they played the most ice time against Lindholm, Goodrow, and Kachuk. That was the line they saw the most of, and of course that
That's
was
what I
the
saw.
Calgary line that played the most. So
Yeah.
they played a lot against Nurse and Barry as well. That trio.
Yeah.
But,
A lot of tough minutes for Keith and CC, and they held their own.
mhm.
Bruce, my good thing is the third period, the Oilers this time held the lead in the third period. And really, let me just check here. After that Calgary goal, the Oilers did not give up, according to our count, at least another grade A scoring chance. So they really shut down the Flames in the third period. And I knew the outcome of the game when I'm watching it, so it's not as tense for me. Like I'm not sitting on every shot because I know they're not going to score, but I didn't really see that much danger or pressure from the Flames. It was a good performance by the Oilers. They they found a way to stymie the Flames, and I don't think it's going to be for the first time this season. Just say that.
Well, they just play 4
It
games
was for the
this year,
first time.
which
It won't be
is
for the last, I should say.
it says after last year's 10 games, this is going to seem like a rare thing playing Calgary, but
Just how many times
might as well
played
win
this
the
year?
first one. Just 4.
4. That's it.
4, yeah.
Ah, geez. I like that old. I like the Canadian division. All right, what's your bad thing?
Yeah, I'm going to look at Tyson Barrie and not liking what I'm seeing on the defensive side. And I mean, this is not anything that should be too surprising, other than we heard from Coach Jim Playfair about how Barry's been challenged to be more competitive on the defensive side of the puck. But man, he just gets overwhelmed sometimes. And I mean, in tonight's game, he played. This is a 5-on-5, so it's not everything because there was lots of 4-on-4 and various special teams tonight. In 16 minutes, the Oilers got outshot 18-7. The shot attempts were 25-9. I mean, we're talking about under 30% across the board in all the scoring chances and shots metrics that they keep at Natural Stat Trick. Fortunately, breaking even 0-0 in actual goals. He did get, he was one of those at fault too on the power play when they gave up a breakaway.
Mangiapane.
Mangiapane's breakaway, that was a pretty scary situation where kind of 2 or 3 different guys messed up, but Barry is supposed to be the he's the one actual defenseman of the 5 that should be playing back in a defensive situation. And he got kind of caught flat-footed on that one as well. I mean, he does bring his skills to the game, and I mean, he's on the power play that scored 2 goals tonight. Not that he necessarily had a huge amount to do with those specific plays, but he's part of that very successful unit. But 2 games in, it's kind of scary because they're really relying on the guy to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah. So we saw last year, right? Like he leaked the highest rate of grade A scoring chances against of any defenseman on the Oilers. And I think it was the highest rate that we may have ever seen. And so he came, I have no doubt that he's determined to improve his defensive game. That Playfair was saying that, and I suspect that's true. It's hard though. I mean, it's hard. He's a 30-year-old, 29-year-old, whatever he is. He's been in the end. It's hard to change these habits. And physically it's just hard to make the plays too, right? Like he's very tricky and he's fantastic with the puck, generally speaking. He's just
Yep.
great with the puck. But he's not that big. and he's not super fast. So yeah, he's gonna, here's what I see, Bruce. Like we've talked about Evan Bouchard stepping up and
Mm-hmm.
taking over from Barry, or taking over in the top four at some point this year. From what I'm seeing, that thought is definitely growing in my mind. You know, it is. Bouchard has done everything that you'd think in the first couple games. He's had a few warts too, a few bad plays,
Mm-hmm.
but he looks really good out there. Very competent player, great passer of the puck, at least as good a puck mover, puck distributor as Tyson Barrie, and probably a better defender. He had some good moments on defense. Bouchard, he wiped out Kachuk, for instance, in one hit I noted. So I just think that's looking like it's going to happen, and it might not be Christmas, it might be Halloween. That we see that move being made. I mean, and again, Bouchard he's not an 18 or 19-year-old guy promoted to the NHL after being drafted high. He's
Right.
played 2 full years of pro hockey. He has great pedigree, and obviously he's got tremendous passing skills. He's had 2 full years to learn the pro game defensively. He seemed, could he be better than Tyson Barrie on defense, Bruce? I think he could.
I hope
That
so.
I would hope so too. Yeah, I would hope so. And maybe Barrie on the third pairing will be, maybe that'll be more to his speed, and continue to play the power play.
Bouchard, he turns 22 next week.
Yeah,
So he's now, at the age where you should really be expecting him to
make
make
him.
some sort of breakthrough. And he has his own peccadillos on the defensive side of the puck. He got burned on one sequence tonight for 2 dangerous chances against.
Turnover.
But yeah, yeah,
Shorthanded, right?
yep,
Was that? Yeah, failed clearing attempt. Yeah.
right. And it went sideways, and Smith had the answers that time. But he has um, uh, things going for him. His head for the game and his general coolness. I expect him to improve on the defensive side of the puck as he gets more experience. And he may never be great, but I expect him to improve up to at least, solid. And to always do his damage when he's got the puck on his stick with the way he thinks the game and the way he shoots and passes the puck.
He does things, Bouchard, every game that really put a smile on my face. Like honestly, like the plays he makes. He's a fantastic passer and offensive hockey player. I mean, that deke that he made to his backhand, where he swooped into the slot, that was really
Hmm.
nice. My bad thing, Bruce. Okay, Zach Kassian. Um, my number is, I'll do both at once. My number is 6. He had
Okay.
6 hits. I loved his physical play. And I thought it was really needed because the Flames are a tough team and they're coming
As
at you.
ever.
They're all over you. They're hitting you. He really was hitting them back. And so was Fogle and Hyman. Like the Oilers have some tough wingers too here. But Cassian and Nurse is a
Mm-hmm.
tough guy. He led the team with 8 hits. Cassian though was going after Zadorov and he standing up to their toughest guys. And that's important in a hockey game against a really tough and ferocious team like the Flames. But my bad thing was this, Bruce. He just got bonked on the head in a fight. Like he lost his helmet in a fight, and he got taken down and concussed. And it could have been so much worse for
Yeah.
Zach Kassian on that play. So what does he do? He loses his helmet again, which should be a signal to get the frick off the ice. Like I guess it's a league
That's what
rule.
the
Get off the
rule.
ice.
Yeah.
Get off the ice immediately. Just go. So what does he do? He just jostles with Zadorov. He steals his hockey stick, which should have been a penalty, grabbing the stick from the other guy's hands, and then he gets in a near fight. I don't know. I just thought that was idiot. Like honestly, I just thought it was dangerously bad thinking on Cassian's part, not having that helmet on his head and continuing
Yeah.
to engage. But that's he's a
To
he's cut from a different cloth than I am. That's certainly true.
Do up your chin strap. If necessary, grow your hair back so the helmet doesn't just slide off of your head, or shrink your helmet one size since you haven't got hair on your head anymore, or whatever it takes to keep the damn helmet on. Do it. I did think he didn't want to go with Zadorov, and he evaded that fight, and rightly so for a player coming off of a concussion. And he didn't. I wouldn't say he chickened out. He just didn't. He didn't engage in that next step of it, and instead he blew Zadorov a kiss from the bench, which was a little bit of fun to watch. But Calgary sure got some greasy customers. Rasmus Anderson is a hothead, and Zadorov doesn't take any prisoners, and we know all about Kachuk, of course.
And Lucic and Good
Yeah,
Branson.
yeah, good Branson. Yeah.
Lucic actually looked pretty good to me that game. Like he seemed to be making plays all night. Like, yeah, good for him if he's picked up his game in Calgary. I guess he has. That's what people say down there. I'm not sure all of those guys can play very well though. And I think this could be a problem for Calgary is that they have a really tough team, but a lot of those guys have trouble executing plays, and we'll see if the trade-off is there for them. It made me really glad, Bruce, tonight, like this notion of having puck-moving defensemen as opposed to cross-checking defensemen. I was really glad that the Oilers could. They just it's a different team right now than we have seen in the McDavid era, frankly, with this group of puck-moving defensemen. It's not the same. It just doesn't feel like the same Oilers at all to me on a certain level. They just because now every time they go out there, it's like they can generate something. It's like they can get the puck out and move the puck. We're not just waiting for the one line anymore. This is a team that's as a group generating stuff, and it's coming from in some small part or large part from this group of defensemen who can really pass the puck. So I'm digging it. What's your number?
Well, I think I'm going to go with the number 3 and also the number +2, which was the number of points scored by all 3 members of Edmonton's big line tonight. We had Jesse Puljujarvi with that big goal we discussed in a pair of primary assists, 3 points +2. We had Leon Draisaitl with 3 assists +2, and Connor McDavid with 3 goals +2. And even though they didn't dominate the possession part of the game at even strength, they did their damage on the power play as usual, and they were able to generate that crucial Puljujarvi goal 5-on-5, and then of course when Calgary pulled the goalie, it was a series of excellent plays by all 3 guys and Nurse to thwart a Calgary rush and break the puck out clean and eventually set McDavid up for the tap in. And I mean, that's an easy goal in the one sense, but in another sense, what's wrong with an empty net goal? I mean, I've been cheering for the Oilers for 50 years now. And you know what? I don't think I've ever seen them lose a game in which they scored an empty net goal. So bring on the empty net goals. That's executing when the game is on the line. And the quickest way to kill the other team is to put the puck in their net when they take their goalie out of it. So anyway, 3 points each, +2 on a night where, they were challenged, but they came out on top, and in large part just because of the tremendous high level of skill that they have to execute on the relatively smaller number of chances they had. No big surprise that they want to put the puck in the net a few times because they got that kind of skill.
The Oilers' power play is clipping along at 50%. 50%, Bruce.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Just seeing who's leading the league in scoring right now. 7 points for Kopitar, 7 points for Stamkos.
Awesome.
McDavid's got 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so. Alrighty. Is that it?
And did you have a number? Oh, yeah.
I said Cassian's.
You did your number first. That's right.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Columbus has got a power play that's clipping along at 66% right now. Yeah, Max Domi.
They kicked the crap out of, was it Arizona, 8-2 on their first game. So
I see. Max Domi and Oliver Bjorkstrand. Well, those are two good offensive players, and that are leading the way there. Alrighty, Bruce. Well, a good start to the season. It could be
yeah,
worse. Could be worse
Vancouver
because
beat Calgary. That's a pretty good start.
I would say Mike Smith's been their best player in both games, and so they're getting some good goaltending here right now,
Mhm.
and that's part of hockey, and it's great. This is like the to harken back to the day, as I always do. Grant Fuhr would
Mhm.
have games like this where he would just, when it was close, he'd be shutting the door, shutting it tight, and then the skill would take over of the team, and that's what happened tonight in this
Right.
game. The Oilers' skill took over after some exceptional goaltending, so it was a very 1980s kind of win.
Well, those great Oiler teams, of the 80s, for all that they led the league in goals every year and seemed, were in the hunt for first place overall in the Stanley Cup year after year. They weren't a team that dominated a game in terms of possession. They didn't have
No,
the puck all the time. They got outshot. Every year that they won the cup, they got outshot during the regular season. Like,
really, yeah.
yeah. And what they did was their shooting percentage was just off the charts, and it was off the charts every year, over 15%, 7 years in a row, team shooting percentage over 15%. It was just insane.
Wow.
And that's how they beat teams. They trade chances with them. We're going to let you have the first chance, and if Grant makes a save, we'll come down 3-on-2, and we're going to put the damn puck in the damn net, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Right? That was their general attitude, and they backed it up. They walked the talk.
And we're seeing that in the first two games here. They're trading chances, and Mike Smith shutting the door, and the Oilers are scoring on their chances. So,
Tonight's game, especially, yeah.
yeah. Well, they got out chance 10-15 against the
Mm-hmm.
Canucks. So, alrighty, Bruce. Let's leave it there.
All right,
Thanks for
Dave.
talking tonight.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast. Let me just find this. There we go.